decent name, and well worth a little bit of civility. He was a college boy from Pittsburgh who was willing to pay attention and treat older folks with respect. Wasn't pushy neither, and that went a long way down the road with Granny. When he'd shown up on her doorstep, he took off his hat and said, "Ma'am," and told her that he was writing a book about the coal miners in Pennsylvania and North Carolina, and was using his own family as the thread that sewed the two states together. Now they were deep into their third porch sitting, and the conversation wandered a crooked mile through late afternoon and on into the full dark of night, talking about Granny and her kin, and about the Tharps here and the Tharps that had gone on. Joshua was a whiskey-holler Tharp, though, but there was no one left around here closer than a third cousin with a couple of removes, so everyone told him to go see Granny Adkins.
"Hell, son," said Mr. Spudders at the post office. "Granny's so old she remembers when God bought these mountains from the devil, and I do believe the good Lord might have been shortchanged on the deal. You want to know about your forebears, and about what happened when the mine caved in, well, you go call on old Granny. But mind you bring your full set of manners with you, 'cause she won't have no truck with anyone who gives her half a spoonful of sass."
Granny knew that Spudders said that because the old coot phoned and told her. Wrigley Spudders was a fool, but not a damn fool. Come calling is exactly what young Joshua did. He came asking about his kin. That was the first day, and even now they'd only put a light coat of paint on that subject. Granny was old, and she was never one to be in a hurry to get to the end of anything, least of all a conversation. Joshua's people, the true whiskey-holler Tharps, were a hard-working bunch, worked all their lives in the mines, boy to old man. Honest folk who didn't mind coming home tired and dirty, and weren't too proud to get down on their knees to thank the good Lord for all his blessings. Shame so many of them died in that cave-in. Lost a lot of good and decent folks that day. 42 grown men and 7 boys. The devil was in a rare mood that day, and no mistake. Guess he didn't like them digging so deep. Granny cut a look at the young man as he sat there studying on the sounds the night brought to him. He was making a real effort to do it right, and that was another good sign. He came from good stock, and it's nice to know that living in a big city hadn't bred the country out of him. "I can't figure it out," said Joshua, shaking his head. "What is it?" Granny crushed out her cigarette and lit another one, closing her eyes to keep the flare of the match from stealing away her night vision. She lit the cigarette by touch and habit, shook the match out, and dropped it into an empty coffee tin that had an inch of rainwater in it. She said,
"What's it sound like?"
That was a test. If the boy still had too much city in him, then there would be impatience on his face, or in his voice, but not in Joshua's. He nodded at the question and once more tilted his head to listen. Granny liked that, and she liked this boy, but after a few moments Joshua shook his head. "I don't know. It's almost like there are 2 sounds. The, moan, and something else, like a faint clinking sound."
"Do tell,"
she said dryly, but with just enough lift to make it a question. "Like maybe the wind is blowing through something, a metal fence, or I don't know. I hear the clink and the moan, but I can't hear either of them really well." He gave a nervous half-laugh. "I've never heard anything like it."
"Never?"
"Well, I don't spend a lot of time out of doors," he confessed. "I guess I haven't learned how to listen yet, not properly anyhow. I know Granddad used to talk about that, about shaking off the city so you could hear properly, but until now I don't think I ever really understood what he was saying." Another soft moan floated over the trees. Strange and sad it was, and Granny sighed. She watched Joshua staring at the darkness, his face screwed up in concentration. Granny gestured with her cigarette.
"What do you think it might be?
Is it some kind of animal?"
What kind of animal would make a sound like that, do you suppose?"
They sat for almost 2 minutes, waiting between silences for the wind to blow. Joshua shook his head. "Some kind of cat?" That surprised Granny, and now she listened, trying to hear it through his ears.